Hi.
Hey.
We're brewing something really special,
Okay.
and you should know because you picked it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone. This is Geraldine, a dear friend of mine, business partner, colleague, and I made her pick chrysanthemum flowers fresh, and that's what we're drinking right now. I'm gonna give them a nice rinse first, though, because they might have ukus.
You might have what?
Ukus?
What's that?
Thank you for asking. Ukus, it's how they say cooties in Hawaiian.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want cooties on your
No.
chrysanthemum. Hi, thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome.
Yay, I
Thanks
wanted,
for the invitation.
yeah. So I like to interview masters of sorts, not necessarily kung fu per se, but people that have just invested time into a craft. And you are someone that has invested time into several crafts. And so, how cool that I get to interview you. Thank you so much. So, could we start with music
Sure.
production?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, you're an MC.
Yeah.
Yeah, MC realism.
Hmm.
Yeah. How'd you come up with that name?
I guess the easiest way to say it, the most simplistic way to say it, is that I always wanted to say things that were real. If ever I was rapping about anything, it had to be truth telling.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And so, you were a rapper in the 90s hip hop era, right? So is
Hmm.
there a specific window that
Yeah, I started rapping. I wrote my first rap in '93, and then I
93 till infinity?
mhm. And then I actively started performing between '96 until about 2021 and
Hmm.
recording music.
So within that 3 years before you got into performing, when did you like get into Lyricist Lounge and Raucous and that was real deal lyricism. That was real deal elemental hip hop of that
Hmm.
era.
Well, it
Right.
definitely wasn't within the 3 years,
Hmm.
but I ended up being presented with the opportunities to perform at the bigger shows and showcases probably like 98, 99, when I was 18 with a friend's expired ID and still able to get into places. They don't do that no
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh. Okay. And then Lyricist Lounge, that's Ruckus, right?
Yeah, Raucous partnered with a few other production companies to have a lyricist lounge tour around the nation,
Yeah.
featuring a lot of upcoming artists. Back then, Eminem was up and coming.
Yeah.
He wasn't popular yet. And then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the underground hip hop greats like Mos Def, Talib.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They were all on there.
Yep.
I remember that Lyricist Lounge project. I was in college
Mhm.
and what was it, the B-Boy document or something?
Oh, yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. And I remember that beat so hard because my roommate at the time, I lived with a punk band,
Okay.
and my roommate was the drummer. Shout out Ian.
Hmm.
And he had a little Yamaha keyboard, and he'd show me how to, key drum beats.
Okay.
And in the programmed beats, the number one first programmed beat was that beat, B-Boy document.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently, that happens quite a bit. Like Dan the Automator took for the Gorillas that very first "I'm happy,"
Hmm.
that song, that drum line came from a pre-recorded
That's dope.
Yamaha.
Use what you got.
Use what you got, exactly. Okay, first rinse, beautiful stuff. Go ahead and take the lid off, give it a whiff. Look at the core, friends at
Mm.
home. Look at that, gorgeous. Little cloudy because that's the ukus. No, that's the pollen, right, from the fresh flowers. But we pour that off. How's it smell?
Smells very sweet.
Now, this is nice because it's ninth chrysanthemum moon, and here we are drinking fresh chrysanthemum flowers. Oh my goodness. And see how pale and delicate they get?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Chrysanthemum flowers are known for expelling heat. They're like nature's Visine. They'll
Mm.
clear the redness out of your eyes. They're great for helping the liver, great for cleaning the blood. Really, really good flower. Let's
Let
see
me
how.
ask you a
Yeah,
question
yeah, yeah.
about that. So I've had chrysanthemum flowers, and tea, but usually dried.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the difference between drinking something that's fresh versus something that was dried?
I'm sure there's a really in-depth answer, but the answer I'm gonna give you is that we're fancy. You can go with that dry shit elsewhere. We get it fresh, picked from the plant. We fancy here. No, well, in all seriousness, a dry ginger would have a different medicinal property than a fresh ginger, right? In all seriousness, a jalapeno is fresh, but when you dry it, it's a chipotle.
Okay.
Right? I learned that from Giselle. Shout out Giselle. Right? And so
Hmm.
there are absolutely 100% different qualities, relative to its dried or fresh. And so you've had it dry.
Mm-hmm.
Now you finna have it fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's special.
Oh, it's
It's clear.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fancy, fancy. Mmm. Mmm. Okay, here we go. Do you notice it doesn't beep anymore?
Mm-hmm.
But I could hear the bubble. So like,
Mm.
oh, it's ready. Oh, oh wow. Oh wow. Look at this color. You can't see. Can you see it from your angle? Oh my gosh. You'll get to see it here.
Nice.
So emceeing first time in 93, you wrote your first rap.
Yeah.
We're both monkeys. So you were 13 years old writing
Yeah.
rhymes. Then you were 16 with a fake ID getting on stage.
Well, at that point, it was as 18.
18
18.
with a real ID
18 with a expired ID
for a
at a
21-year-old.
yeah, a 21 and up venue for
Uh-huh.
Lyricist Lounge. Yeah.
Was that here in the Bay?
Yeah, is at San Francisco Maritime Hall.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
snap! Beep, beep, beep. Okay. What did you rap about? I hear you say you wanted to rap about what's real. What were some of your topics?
My very first song was called "I'm on a Mission," and the chorus went, "I'm on a mission. Yes, a mission to get the whole entire world to listen." Now, the disadvantage of rapping at that age is I didn't have very much life experience. So I tried to keep my lyrics about general positivity. Like, I think the lyric went like, "Here I am, I wonder the situation that I'm under, expands to the land of fantasy, dreams, realities." So it was like a lot of, I wonder what it could be if we live in this world that's positive and optimistic and everybody was unified. So I had themes in that direction. And the other songs were really about feeling people. It was just like, ooh, I like you and let's kick it, let's get together,
Mhm.
all that young love.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it. Would you consider yourself kind of lyric heavy? I heard you just say that you didn't have much life experience to draw from, but how did you structure your rhymes? Were you like syllable rhyming, prose?
It was definitely just based on words, as many words as I could find that could fit in the 8 bars that sound clever
Uh-huh.
together.
Okay.
I didn't really make that many metaphor references. I would sometimes, but it was just whatever came to me.
Hmm.
I never really had a method to writing rhymes. It was
Hmm.
always like, ooh, that beat sounds dope. let me write something, and it was
Hmm.
channeled that way.
Okay.
And I feel like it still is today.
Got it.
I'll just hear it, and it's like, ooh, I really like that rhyme. I need another word to go with it. So it would be back then the thesaurus, and now it's like
Thesaurus.
rhyme
Rhyme
dictionary
dictionary. I've used it
or
myself.
chat GPT.
Yeah.
So it's whatever's
Okay.
easier.
All right. Well, you kind of alluded to it just then, like you hear the beat and then it comes to you. So are you beat first, lyric second, or are you
Most of the
song?
time.
Ah, okay.
Most of the time.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Have you ever created a song first and then made a beat to fit it?
Very rarely.
Hmm.
Yeah, very rarely.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then with music production, are you mostly into the lyricism or do you do any of the beat production as well?
I wish I could make beats. I
Hmm.
mean, I've owned electronic drum pads and all the equipment,
Hmm.
and my brain just doesn't really have. It can't make the patterns,
Yeah.
but I can follow patterns. So I've always been just lyricism. I mean, I've
Hmm.
written poems or things that I think can be eventually turned into a song, sung as a song, but I don't really
Hmm.
have the talent for like the melody or the cadence beyond
Uh,
spoken.
Word. Okay. What would you say is, I don't want to say your biggest performance, but your most impactful performance?
Impactful.
Yeah, where you
Oh,
really got the crowd behind you.
oh, for sure. It was probably the first time that I performed that Maritime so many times,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a show opening for hieroglyphics.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I don't remember if there was a
Shout out Hyro.
yeah. I don't remember if there was also a bigger act that was like also headlining, but
Mm-hmm.
I performed alongside the Earthlings,
Okay.
so they brought me on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and that show was just so like the energy was so like out of this world. And Maritime Hall was a 3,000 person venue, and it was almost always packed. But that one in particular, they had me on at the end, and I had people, back then we didn't have cell phones to videotape. I had people with like their own camcorder they had brought in. I
Wow.
wish I could access that footage of like, filming me. And also, I had this thing, I love call and response when I'm performing. So I was like, when I say real, you say it's a real. And so to have 3,000 people cheering and with their hands up and wanting to like shake your hand or give you a high five after you perform. That was the highest feeling ever. Mm.
All right. So what would you say is the distinction between an MC and a rapper?
Oh, I've never been asked this.
Is there a difference?
I think
Is it nuance?
these days, I feel like there's so many different levels of rapping. Back then, because I guess you could have considered me kind of a backpack rapper back then, because I leaned more underground to middle ground rather than mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I'd be like, man, an MC, they got the lyrics, they're talking about something real, like I would have said that. But now that I'm a lot older and I've seen the evolution of rap music and different styles of rap music, I think it's whatever you want to call yourself. If you're an MC, you're an MC. If you're a rapper, you're a rapper. But within that genre or within that artistry, there are different styles and there are different levels of that.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think they're the same.
Right on. Yeah, I could hear my brother. He just left, and my half brother, shout out Tom. He doesn't like rapping. So, all sounds like angry poems to me.
Well, I'm curious to know for you, is there a
Uh-huh.
difference between MCs and
100%.
okay.
100%. I think rappers kind of just rap. I think rap, at least what I'm pulling out of my butt right now, comes from establishing rapport. So to rap about something is to establish rapport with someone, and that by and large just denotes small talk, breaking the ice, right? And so a rapper, I think, is someone who kind of doesn't have much to say, maybe following styles or common thought streams that are popular or trending, right? And I'm just gonna rap what's on my mind. Whereas an MC, MC translates to mic conductor, move the crowd. There's kind of plays on it, right? And so MC, move the crowd. Can you capture the attention? Can you share your story powerfully? Can you inspire or drive a movement, right? And then do you have a voice that will speak to the listening of the crowd? Or am I just here to rap whatever I have to rap? Or here's this community, this is what's prevalent right now. Let me speak to this. Let me feel this environment and put a nice bow on it and make this memorable for everybody. MC, right? And so that would be the difference for me.
That's deep. And it makes sense. I mean, what is MC? It's Masters of Ceremonies.
There you go. That's the one. Master of Ceremony.
Yeah.
How you like it? It's good, right? Hella
So
good.
smooth.
This is Billy D. Williams tea. Okay. One more question about music, and then I'll move on to the other topics I want to ask you about. Was I get a lot of martial artists here across from me, and something I always ask the martial artists is, "Have you ever been challenged?" And in hip hop, 90s hip hop specifically, underground 90s hip hop especially, did you ever have to hold your own in a cipher?
No.
No?
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, tell me, battle rap.
Because I've never really been a very masterful freestyle rapper. I've always been a very strategic, methodical, written rhymes
Okay.
rapper. And so there have been moments where I've been in scenarios where, everybody goes on stage and they're waiting for their time to be on the mic. But for the most part, I usually had specific punchlines that I had on deck. So there were, especially at Maritime, because it's such a big crowd and I didn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So I had specific rhymes that were for those moments. Yeah.
So you have had instances where you've had to.
Well, I just knew I had to. It was never like one-on-one or in a cipher where you're battling.
Yeah.
But you got to show up.
For sure.
And so I always had specific lines and rhymes that were for those moments versus, just like, let me hear something.
Right on. So then, if I'm not mistaken, you had transitioned from music into tech.
Yeah.
Was that the next step? And that's kind of into where I got to start knowing you. Was I was starting to build my website, and I'm sure these timelines don't align. I think you were into tech well before me, but I was building up my WordPress. I was getting hooked up by my buddy John Jones. Shout out John Jones. And I remember I hired you as a consultant. And so, how'd you make the transition from writing rhymes to writing codes?
They actually happen simultaneously. So the same time that I started writing rhymes at 13, I was also coding websites at 13.
Like GeoCities and stuff?
It was like, actually, was I on GeoCities? Maybe around the era, for sure. For sure. Wherever I can post something for free, right? Because I needed to build my MC website.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make text blink, or I wanted to make it bold and bigger. So, and back then, web development was just as simple as, how do I make my text blink in the 13 different search engines that they had? There was no Google. And it would tell you, they give you the code right there, just as if a chat GPT would do these days. And so I built my MC website so I can have the quotes from the press article or have my pictures there and how they were going to contact me and book me, all of that.
What was your website name?
It was Realism World.
.com?
Yeah. Or was it Ism World? No, Realism World. Yeah. Yeah. You could probably find
Dope.
it on a Wayback Machine.
Oh, okay, like an archive, web archive
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and then
Oh,
so
actually, no, no, no. It was Worldism.
worldism.
Worldism.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 90s. That's like AOL.
Yes, that's how we get onto the internet. Dial up.
Yeah. AOL, what was around those? Prodigy was like another
Uh-huh.
dial-up source.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
Shout
Old
out
school.
AOL.
There are still people with AOL accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still
Yeah.
works.
I mean, I think Yahoo owns AOL now or something.
Oh, really? I still have my Yahoo.
Yeah.
David Way for Mayor, yahoo.com. Shout out Mac Dre.
You're gonna get all these emails over there. Wait, let me rewind. What was it? You get all the spam.
That's what it is now. It's basically my spam email. So then it probably wasn't a big shift then from the tech world into entrepreneurialism.
It only was because of what I associated my identity to be. Because it wasn't by choice for me to shift from being a rapper to being an entrepreneur who happened to do tech things. So what happened was in 2001, I had a string of performances and was traveling a lot because I also worked in the music industry. So I'd fly from coast to coast. I was also a performer. I did all these things and I was in college at the same time. I was burnt out, and I also at the time drank a lot of alcohol because I was backstage. I was also experimenting with shrooms. I was in car accidents that had Vicodin. Like there's all these different things that came to this point where I was burnt out.
Damn, Geraldine. Troublemaker. Shit. Okay.
I was burnt out, and I came to a place where my mind didn't align with the conversations that were here on this earth with people that I loved and people that I worked with. So you can look at it as like, what is she talking about? Like, is she having delusions or something like that? And so all of these conversations led to my family being really concerned, my bosses being really concerned, and I ended up in a mental hospital for 7 days.
Was there an intervention?
The intervention was us at the Kaiser like conference room or something, me and my family, and us waiting for me to be seen by the psychiatrist, and them trying to talk to me about what was going on, and me proceeding to write on this whiteboard about how, as a family, we're going to save the world. And this is how we're going to do it. This was actually shortly after 9/11. So there was also trauma with that too, because I had flown back from New York on a business trip the day before 9/11 happened. So I didn't really realize how impactful that was to me. It kind of all manifested in everything else I was going through. So I was in a mental hospital for 7 days, put on meds for the first time, and lost all of my musical capabilities. No rhythm, couldn't come up with rhymes, and just kind of mentally still. And so out of that, I came back home, and my parents requested, they're like, you really have to get well. How about you quit school, quit work, just stay home, And at that point,
Aww.
I was devastated, but I didn't really feel devastated. It was like I couldn't feel anything because I was on meds, and all I felt I could do at the time was just follow along. So that was 2.5 years of eating, sleeping, and shitting. and not really doing anything. It was like being under my yellow blanket, looking at the ceiling and like wanting to go back to sleep. It was terrible, but I didn't feel terrible because I was on meds. It was just a whole bunch of nothingness.
Yeah.
And when I look back at it now, I realize like, wow, that was such a divine intervention because at that time, from 93 all the way to this happening, I was answering the phone like realism. It was like my only
Identity.
sense of identity. So that's when I came out of that and finally decided I'm not what they diagnosed me, which they diagnosed me as bipolar. I think that just happened to shift me in a different direction. I don't know what direction that is. I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to be an entrepreneur because as a kid, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So let's see what this is like because I can't rap. let me try this thing. So I took
Mm.
all of my skills that I had from coding and I turned it into business.
Pivot. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Then how long did it take you to gain some momentum from that? Because 2 years of incubating, in a sense, to kind of having a wherewithal and then a direction in mind to where I see you now, closing huge contracts and shit with 10G stadium deals. Like, yo, how long did it take to get some solid momentum behind you?
Yeah. Well, I ended up my my path to getting to where I am now, to owning businesses and marketing and tech, it took a few tweaks along the way. So I ended up by accident starting a vinyl record, online vinyl record store
Oh,
because I
dope.
knew how to build websites. So it was
Uh-huh.
like I was on
So you
Craigslist.
were pressing wax?
I wasn't pressing wax, but I was reselling
Okay,
their stuff.
stay. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, so that was my first business. I sold records for like till 2009 or something like that. And then that's when
Uh-huh.
I started Meet Geraldine, which was geared toward
Yeah.
technology and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But to get my actual footing, I always, ever since I went through this, I feel like entrepreneurship is the most spiritual journey you can ever go through because it pushes your limits. It makes you doubt yourself. So, so you got to be up for self-doubt and overcoming that for sure.
I would, sorry to cut you off. I would never put those two things together.
Really?
I would, of course, now, you know, sure. And I shout out Giselle who introduced me to like the work life combo thing, and but now to hear it as actual a spiritual path, I'm sure there's a lot of anti-capitalist people out there that are going to have a hard time swallowing that one.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have faith. You have to
Yeah.
have faith in yourself that everything's going to work out, that all these challenges that you continue to experience are going to be diminished, right? I mean, that always happens. It's just like, okay, I have a successful business that generates, 20K a month, but like all of a sudden you have all these different problems that you got to deal with. So, or these different challenges or these different things you have to solve. So, it took me, so if I stopped taking my meds in 2003, and it wasn't until, oh gosh, I'm trying to think like my age. When I was 36, so 2013, what year was that? Okay, years later, many years later, that I actually stopped having depression. So it took all those years of being an entrepreneur actively and working through these challenges and my self doubt and working on my self development, my self growth to at least get to the point where I wasn't having depression anymore. And then from there started to blossom. So it was like decades worth of work of working on myself, understanding what spirituality really meant to me, and learning how to be an entrepreneur and overcome these challenges.
I knew I was interviewing you for the right reasons. Look at this. Good. This is juicy. Okay, come on. Look at that color. Isn't that incredible? It's like translucent, and then you could see the green behind it, and then, oh, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. All right, so please continue.
What's the next question?
Next question would be, in the same way of not necessarily what was your biggest show, but what was your most impactful. I don't necessarily want to know what was your biggest contract, but what was your most impactful project? Or a more impactful project, because I know you have many.
Yeah. I don't think I remember the exact project, but I remember the time and what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we broke this threshold of working with solopreneurs with very small budgets or very stretched budgets. You know, the solopreneur who's so driven to make it that they will put thousands of dollars beyond what their means are to make it. You know, so they put their credit card down with complete faith,
Yeah.
which is what you should do. Really, I mean, you shouldn't go into debt, but you should have complete faith if you're going to drop some bread, right?
I can hear the Shark Tank people saying, stupid move, stupid.
I mean, these days it's about convincing people using their money.
Yeah.
But that's another skill on it itself. We got to a place where we had some pretty big contracts. And with these contracts, we had to fulfill like many deliverables at once. So what that also took was multiple levels of expertise. And I'd already been building teams for what I knew, but I knew that I had to bring in more people with copywriting skills, business strategies, which is how Giselle and I started working together. So many different skill sets because I knew at that point, I can't just learn all of this by myself and do a good job. I have to bring specialists in to do that. And so we were rocking with a core team of probably about 6 people plus 20 something contractors who were coming in and out depending on the need. And so in one given project, we would have 12, 13 people working at the same time, everything from project management to all the different skill sets that were needed. And I trusted all these people, you know, and they all did a really good job. But once you're at that level, there's a fine line between still overseeing and being very clear about all parts of the process and delegating off and just focusing on like bringing in more sales, which is what I was doing at the time. And that was I think the learning for me in that was that you got to watch the budget. And although we were getting paid so much money at that time, having specialists, having payroll, having all of these different tools that you need to be able to efficiently run and keep track of things, it all adds up. And at the time, I was really aspiring to be some of my other colleagues with businesses where they're charging like $100,000 a year for this one campaign for corporations, you know, and running multiple of those. So I'm like asking, what are you doing? What payroll company are you using? And like thinking that, wow, I'm about to grow that fast. I need that now, even though I'm not there yet. So I was investing in the best of the best people and the best systems and process and vendors. And so much to the point where we made $500,000 that year, but I had no idea till I got my tax statement and realized how much of
The overhead
was. Yeah. And we only had brought in what, like 10K that year?
Oh.
And then I was just
So
like,
all that cash flow, but no margin.
yeah, barely any margin. I mean, we were all paid. we had the best health insurance. That like I was like, damn, I miss that health insurance. But finding out that health insurance costs you, 28% of your bottom line paying to this payroll company who also does HR, who also does this, I was like, damn, I really shouldn't have scaled that fast to aspire to be where I'm not at yet.
So this is fascinating to me because I have the other experience of you when we were filling out that contract for the corporate account, and you were breaking down my transportation to the mileage. And
Yeah.
I was like, damn, you're thorough. But now I get it. It's experiences like
Yeah.
this that will have you keep track of metrics like that.
Yeah, because one thing I realized in that period of time with having that much cash flow coming through and learning all this is, and I adapt this to my personal life too, is that you don't really see the full picture of the finances until a year or two later. Because that money that you're able to secure and save and invest for the future, like it all, it's either gone or it's there. It's either there or it's not within those next 2 years. And so my planning style, like as you saw in all the spreadsheets and the calculations we're putting together, very different from what it was before.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So still evolving. Wow.
Mhm.
And that's a trip because I wanted to access one of those production calculators that you had given me back in 2020. I started working with you for 2019-ish, around there. Like we hadn't even moved in here yet, and I'm working with you, right? And you had given me that calculator because we were trying to figure out how much to charge for a thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember just recently wanting to access that tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's all different now. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So you're a multifaceted gem. At what point did astrology come into the conversation?
When I started traveling.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, uh, my family, the extent of travel that we ever did was we would drive to Reno in a big orange van with all the kids in the back, no
Ha.
seatbelts, that's how it was back then.
Uh-huh.
We would drive to Reno or we would drive to San Diego to see my family, our extended family.
Yeah.
And so I grew up never thinking that I was a traveler unless it was paid by my work.
Ah.
So eventually I got to a point where I was just like, just still curious about my self-development journey and how I can advance it. Was referred by a client to talk with a Vedic astrologer to tell my future, right?
Mm-hmm.
From her perspective. And found out I could ask any questions I want. So one of my questions was that, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Vegas with my boyfriend. Is that a good place for me? Not knowing this wasn't really part of Vedic astrology at all, but he knew he had the tools and resources to give me an answer.
Yeah,
So
Vedic knows that shit.
yeah, he said, so he goes on, I think he probably used astro.com. He went
Mm-hmm.
to astro.com and he told me, oh, Vegas would be better for you, but the best place would be Taos, New Mexico or Denver, Colorado. And I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, noted. I just kind of every time I did a reading back then, I would just internalize and research later. And so I looked up what he looked up. And sure enough, on astro.com, there was a tool that would tell you your astrocartography. And I was just like, well, I don't ever take the risks of like putting money toward travel, but if there's a reason, I'm gonna do that. So I went to Taos, New Mexico for 3 months. I went to Denver for 6 months. Both of them were on the Jupiter line, which is about expansion, abundance, visibility. I was like, I need to know if this is real. And so that was the point of testing astrology. Like, is this real or is it not? And it was true. And that's when I started getting really interested. I got my own Vedic astrologer that I would meet with every year.
Wow.
I started researching all that I could. and testing out all these different locations to see if it aligned with the planetary energy that was there for me.
So then, how many years is this now? Because this sounds like it's a journey that you've had.
Yeah, so since it's 2025 now, so since 2016,
Okay,
I've been
it's a good 9 years.
studying. Yeah, and only within the past 3, 4 years had I been actually reading charts, having the software, and like doing really in-depth analysis and feeling comfortable to do that for myself and other people.
In the Vedic system.
Yeah, in the Vedic system, also mixed with astrocartography.
That's the cool stuff. I remember getting into astrocartography. I've never done it. I've never had a chart read. I assume Wudang Mountain is just
Oh
some
yeah,
spot for me
totally.
to.
I'd be curious about that too.
I just think there's some about Richmond, California that really did it for me. Some about Hawaii. But within the scope of astrocartography, when I was doing world travels, there were definitely communities, cultures that received my style of instruction better than others. And so I'm in Europe. They love me in France. They love me in England. They love me in Czech Republic. They love me in Germany, except for Munich. Something about Munich.
There's a line
It
crossing.
didn't hit. It was Saturn or something. And then same thing. I'm traveling East Coast. I'm up from Toronto through New York, through the Virginias, all the way down through Florida. Whole East Coast tour. Washington D.C. Just and the exact same quality of person in Munich was the exact same quality of person in DC, just like uptight, serious, like, very analytical, and and so
Saturn, Mercury.
yeah, didn't work. But everyone else, yeah. And so I don't know if that's just off days, because you have off days, or at any rate. But
Yeah,
astrocartography is interesting to me.
we should do a session.
I am down.
Because the thing about astrocartography and life experiences is that the line placement for you never changes. Because the line placement is based on how the planets were lined around you when you're born.
Damn.
However,
Hold on, let me just check in with my ego really quick, because it's all about how the planets revolved around me
yeah,
when I
right,
was born.
exactly. Yeah.
As if my head wasn't big enough. Hold on. Let me deal with it. All right. So you were gonna say something, sorry.
No, I'm just amused at your reaction. But I would probably have the same reaction too. So
Yeah. It's like how all this cosmos revolves around me. It's like
yeah, nobody else. You.
now, I'm curious about Vedic because I've had a Vedic reading from this wonderful lady, Betty Tim. Shout out Betty Tim. She's up in Sonoma. And I know of Liu Ming, who's my Chinese astrologer, because my Chinese astrologer, Liu Ming, would get Vedic readings from Betty. Okay, so Betty's esteemed. And she gave me a kick ass Vedic reading. It was to where, are you reading my diary? Like, how do you know this about me? She was saying that, oh, Mars is in a certain place in my chart, so you have red hair. I'm like, motherfucker, no, I don't, because I'm Chinese. I have black hair. But in Wudang, in the heat of the summer, when I'm out in the sun every day training my ass off and my hair gets sun bleached, my beard turns red.
Wow.
And I'm like, how did you know that, lady? It's like, yo, it's like the smallest time of year where all the conditions have to be just right for that expression to come out. And she picked up on it. And I remember it specifically because Now my beard is all white. But I got my first white hair in my beard in China. I go, Shifu, 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 a white hair. And he goes, wisdom. And I go, oh, well then, Shifu, Shifu, look at all this red hair. And he goes, crazy. So the instance of me having red hair and have a Vedic astrologist point that out, it amongst all the other things that were convincing, yo, this is legit. And so I had Vedic reading, and then I went and found my pole star, but then my course would introduce me to another Vedic astrology, Dharma Bodhi, shout out you. Got a reading from him. I had Western readings done. And no matter what style, every reading confirmed the exact same life course for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I find interesting too. So, that in mind, may I ask why you specifically stick with Vedic as opposed to the others?
Because it's so specific. So with Vedic astrology, there are multiple systems within the whole structure of Vedic astrology to be able to predict.
Yeah.
So depending on the result or the answer or the outcome you're looking for, you would look at these different parts of the charts. So if I were to pull your Vedic astrology chart, and I'm sure others have too, there's hundreds of pages of different styles of interpretation.
Yes.
The easiest or the highest level that I could explain is that there's a birth chart, but there's also divisional charts. So for every area of life, you have another version of a birth chart. So we could look at spouse, we can look at misfortunes, we could look at conveyances. There's so many different ones. So if you were to ask me a very specific question about your life, then I could look at the specific charts and systems that would give that answer. I chose Vedic mostly though because of how it can make predictions about time and it can explain things that have happened in the past. Because with Vedic, it also takes constellations into account, whereas Western does not. And so we can know on this given day, it was, and this is just an example, Saturn, Sun, Venus, Ketu for you. It will break it down to that particular day of all of the planetary movements or what planets were present for you based on your chart on that day. And you could predict the type of energy that you would experience. You could predict what types of activities are better for that day based on these planetary traits. And so I really resonated with that because it explained things that happened in my past. And I could also have a heads up of what might be more efficient for me in the future.
Going forward, yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So, I'm familiar with Vedic and I'm familiar with all the other different offshoot charts. It was presented to me as kind of a nadi, N-A-D-I, nadi reading as kind of a fate destiny. And so hearing you talking about it, my father-in-law is another side tangent story that comes to mind. My father-in-law, devout Muslim, would tell me the stories of creation. And Abrahamic traditions, we say, in the beginning there's the Word, and the Word was God, and God said, let there be light, right? In Islam, there's a prequel to that. The very first thing God created was a pen and wrote all that shit down. Shout out MCs, shout out code writing. And so in the conversation of fate and an ability to read that fate, is it written? Is it unfolding? Is it free will?
That's something that
what are we talking about
I
here?
have grappled with this because depending on which Vedic astrologer you talk with, in India, there's a lot of them who say, this is how it is. You're going to have a bad luck in this area. Sorry. But at least you know. You know?
Yeah.
And then there's things like soul contracts.
Yeah.
where based on your name and the gematria of the addition of the, the numbers, that determines like your life purpose and what's going to happen, and that everything is planned. So my, and this isn't based on a system. This is just based on my personal belief at this moment, which probably can change depending on what I learn,
There you go.
is that I believe that all astrology, Vedic astrology included, it's that it presents predictions based on how the planets have affected you, and it's your choices that will take you in a direction of resistance or ease. So I feel that to a certain extent, things are planned. Like there's certain people that you're supposed to meet. We don't know who that is. We can never predict that. However, it's like you have these paths. You meet this person or you have this experience, and you can go that way, that way, or that way. And depending on that choice, depending on how much you listen to your intuition, that's going to determine how easy it is for you, how challenging it is for you. But ultimately, based on Vedic, there are lessons that you have to learn no matter what.
That part. And so this is profound because I'd imagine to the average person being presented with this material, it's really easy to say, give me the good path, give me the easy path, right? Give me the path of least resistance and most ease.
Yeah.
But then there's no growth in that.
You still gonna learn.
You still don't learn.
Yeah, and this is the part I have experienced over and over again,
Uh-huh.
because it's like, let's say you have a partner, right? And you're like, our relationship is good, it's stable. Well, there's certain things I ain't down with. Maybe I should just go with somebody else. You still got to learn the lessons you got to learn. And so whether it's through a relationship, your boss or whatever, you still are going to learn lessons no matter what you choose. So in every given moment you have to say to yourself, are these challenges that I'm facing in the workplace, with my business, with my partner, with whoever, do I want to deal with these ones? Or do I want to make a different choice and see whatever challenges come up there? And that's a tough decision, right? Because you really got to listen to your intuition and be aligned with your values.
Yeah. Wow. Juicy. Thank you for that. Yeah, because that comes up a lot in astrology. And it's like, when should I play the lotto? And
I mean, I could tell you that.
yeah, with Vedic, you could,
I
right?
could tell you that. I could tell you there's better windows than others.
Uh-huh.
Whether or not it actually comes to fruition, it's based on your energy. It's based on, you got to
Word.
be ready, right?
Yeah, word. Okay. Fun. Well, then, one more area of expertise you have is in the magic of manifestation. And in this conversation, I'm kind of seeing that all these different facets of your skills, there there's a theme of word, there's a theme of truth, there's a theme of mastery, there's a theme of refinement, character refinement and development. And so despite having all these different, dare I say, jack of all trades, right? I just heard this today. Jack of all trades, but master of none is oftentimes better than a king of just one.
You want to feature on my next song? Say
Right? Jack of all trades, but a master of none. That's what we hear, right? So we hear, oh, don't be spread too thin, like pick a specialization, right? But then a jack of all trades, but master of none is oftentimes better than a king of just one, right? Because I'm stiff, I'm rigid, I have no flexibility, I have no other alternatives. All I know is this. It's like, and yet we don't hear that side of
I
the story.
know. We have so many choices of what we can do these days and how we can learn. Honestly, I mean, I agree with that statement to an extent, but some people in this lifetime are meant to be a master of one.
Mm,
And I think that I still think you have to explore, regardless if you're that person. And
It's
I
like you know,
forgot where we were going.
oak or a pine tree, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And I never heard that either. That's dope, though.
Bars.
That's dope.
Bet. Well, sis. Yeah, this is fun. Magic? You can talk a little bit about magic, manifestation?
Yeah, there was a period of my life
Mm-hmm.
where I learned a lot about magic. And I was studying a lot of ancient Hebrew practices.
Mm-hmm.
I was studying a lot of Egyptian practices.
Mm-hmm.
I had mentors that were kind of guiding me in the right direction for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a lot of magic practice, and I practiced the astral travel and all of that.
Wow.
So I got a lot of, I was blessed to be exposed to a lot of hidden knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really do magic as much as I used to. And I'll tell you why. It's because if we are all energy, and energy can never be created or destroyed, it can only be passed from one to another. That to me means that energy is always being balanced. And this checks the boxes for a whole bunch of different systems, soul contracts and all this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Karma,
Mm-hmm.
past life karma.
Yeah,
It's all
astrology.
about,
That's Chinese resolution.
yeah,
Yeah, soul
it's all
resolution.
about resolving, like balancing the energy, whether it's collective energy or whether it's personal energy, all the energy. That's all that we are. This is energy. So when you perform magic, you are manipulating energy, and in some cases also invoking the spirits and the angels to help you, which they're down to do. They're like, hell yeah, you need me, I'm gonna do that. However, it's like if you're doing magic, then you're also impacting other things too. So there are consequences. The two consequences I've learned, not like you go and learn, not like that, but just kind of came to my own conclusions, is that one, you shouldn't call on spirit, angels, and all that for no reason. You can't be like, every day, I'm going to do magic for 10 hours a day, like it's my job, to make all these things happen, because spirits got to rest too. They have other people to serve, right? And if you're just invoking them and you're to do things that are pretty selfish to you, then that creates an imbalance in itself. So that's one thing.
So you're disrupting resolutions for sake of your own short-sighted
Yeah,
gains.
it becomes more ego than it is for love and
Yep.
unity.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So there's considerations when you do magic. It should
Yeah.
be important.
Yep. Can we discuss a parallel right now?
Yeah.
Because I have the exact same conclusion, but different equation,
Okay.
right? And so you brought up the language of invocation. That's a word. Evocation? Evoking.
Invoking.
Yeah. The angels, the spirits, and entities, whatnot, right? We may not have that view in a manifestation magic conversation, right? However, the end result of creating something in service to versus creating something for me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so we have an equation, okay? Mudra, the hands, right? Not some fancy symbol hand sign, but no, get your hands dirty, do some work. Mantra, not some chant. No, put words to your vision, speak your truth, right? Mandala, not some fancy ornate picture. No, but visualize and see your work manifest, see it come to reality, right? So mudra, mantra, mandala, right? And that was the transmission that I used to manifest quite a bit into my life. But again, my short-sighted, selfish, self-fulfilling needs, I'm manifesting, but what I end up owning owns me. And so here I am, sure, 18 years old, pushing a Cadillac, magically manifested it, but I don't want to get my white walls dirty and, oh, I got insurance and I got to put gas in the tank and,
Consequence.
right? And so it's like, yes, I manifested this, but now it owns me, right? Because I got to take care of it. And so what I wanted to own actually in turn owns me. And so it wasn't until I added a fourth factor of the equation, mudra, mantra, mandala, meta,
Ah, okay. Say more.
right? Yes, I create this, but in service to. This isn't for me, this is for us. This is
Hmm.
for collective benefit, right? And then it becomes God work through my hands,
Yes.
right? And I am no longer trying to self serve, but in that service to others, my needs get met.
100%. And I think that if you are given the opportunity to learn magic in service of, without ill intentions, it is worth pursuing
Mm,
because you get to a point where it's culmination. So you do ritual every single day, and it's a culmination of energy that you're attracting to yourself to empower yourself to be able to channel more clearly from God, from source, from the universe. And you get to a point where you don't have to do that anymore.
just kind
It's
of
it's
become a
not like
conduit. Yeah.
it's not like, ooh, I need something and you do it. It's like I am something and I can attract what's meant for me. Because a lot of times we don't even know, we think we know what's meant for us because of our want, because of our desire and emotion. However, life goes however it goes. So having intentions and knowing that I am a powerful person, I know all these things, I have the tools and resources to accomplish what I need to accomplish. I'm only going to do magic sometimes because I know the magic's already cultivated in me.
Heard. Wow. This is juicy. Let's see where we at. It's a good. It's a good spot.
Yeah.
Um, what's on your plate right now? What big projects are you working on?
Discernment.
That's a fucking kung fu answer for real.
I'm going to shout you out
Okay.
because I remember probably a few months ago or end of the year or something, you had given me a reading,
Uh-huh.
a Chinese astrology reading. And you said, and I love how in your readings, you always make it relatable. You're like, you're going to keep getting demo tapes. People are just going to keep on sending their demo tapes. And what you meant was that based on you clarified it later.
Yeah.
What you meant based on the expertise and the mastery that you've gathered, people are going to want to work with you. So they're going to give you their demo tapes, and you're going to have to use discernment of what aligns for you or what does not.
So that shows up.
Oh, yeah, it was already showing up. That's why I was so down for that reading because I was like, oh, you're right. I got like 5 demo tapes on the desk right now.
Uh-huh.
And it keeps on showing up. And so I have to continuously check myself
Yeah.
and say, is this something worth pursuing? Which is also, there's an extra level of challenge with that right now because I have a transiting Rahu in Aquarius, and how that manifests for me in my Vedic chart is that there's going to be a flood of ideas, and a lot of them are going to sound really good, but I have to always see, is there value alignment? Is there inner alignment? Is this going to cultivate my own inner power and expression? So I've gotten to a place where I'm like, okay, every idea that I have and that other people have, like, I really got to think about this because I'm just in a flood of ideas right now.
Wow. And that couldn't have aligned better with our moon cycles and phases and almanac because here we are officially stepping into winter in effect. And this the time of creativity, brainstorming, limitless thought, but not necessarily the action, You know, this is where I'm going to sort out my seeds for the year and discern which ones I want to plant. And that way, when spring, the ground running. So you're kind of same, but different, sis. I love it. We have different systems, but same results. All right. Where can people find you?
GeraldineConvento.com. So that has links to all the different places, and you can contact me there. It's not the most up to date, however, it's a good place to find me and everything else.
Word.
Or my YouTube channel, Geraldine Convento YouTube channel. That's also another place.
Maybe you'll see a video of me on there.
Oh yes, and you'll definitely hear an audio around the interviewing.
Yeah, I have the perfect voice for radio, or perfect face for radio. I think that's what it is. Okay, guys.